Greetings everyone, this is David and today's video is going to be a look at Matthew 23:9 in which Christ says, "Call no man your father." Speaking for myself and for many people who first read this verse when they were new to Christianity, they're most definitely probably confused by this because, well, we call priests fathers, but here Christ tells us that we should call no man our father. So how does that make sense? What does this mean? Usually the response is 1 Corinthians 4:15, in which St. Paul says that we have many fathers, one of them being St. Paul himself, but it still doesn't really explain the point of Christ saying, "Call no man your father." Now, I believe St. Jerome, in his commentary on Matthew, does a very good job at explaining the logic behind it, which is going to be crucial for this video. He says, "It is one thing to be a father or a teacher by nature, another to be so by generosity. For when we call a man father and reserve the honor of his age, we may thereby be failing to honor the author of our own lives. One is rightly called the teacher only from his association with the true teacher." And in other words, he explains in a much more clear manner, the fact that we have one God and one Son of God through nature does not prevent others from being understood as sons of God by adoption. So these titles, such as Father, that is naturally proper to God alone, is given to man by adoption, right? And this principle applies to many other things. And I will say that the reason why this principle applies to man is because man is made in the image of God. So this is more than sufficient for this verse itself, and we can kind of end the video here. But what I want to do next is explain through this principle and logic how this further applied to certain apostolic offices such as bishopric and priesthood by the early Christians themselves, such as St. Ignatius of Antioch, which speaks of a likeness between bishop, the office of bishopric, and God. He says, "Do all things in godly concord," and this is in his epistle to Magnesians, "the bishop presiding after the likeness of God, and the presbyters after that is the priest, after the likeness of the council of the apostles, with the deacons who are most dear to me, having been entrusted with the diaconate of Jesus Christ." Saint Clement has also very important statements concerning this. He, speaking of the apostles, "Preaching everywhere in country and town, they appointed their first fruits, when they had approved them by the Spirit, to be bishops and deacons unto them that shall believe. And this they did in no new fashion, for indeed it had been written concerning bishops and deacons from very ancient times." Those offices existing still today in many cities, such as Thessalonica and such, from the biblical age to today's age. "For thus says the scripture in a certain place, I will appoint their bishops in righteousness and their deacons in faith." So we can kind of explain St. Clement's ecclesiology and the Trinitarian base of it to explain apostolic succession as thus: God, who is the bishop of creation, sends Christ, who takes on human nature and becomes high priest, on a mission to redeem all of mankind. And then Christ fulfills this redemptive mission by the crucifixion. However, it just doesn't end there. It continues, and it continues through the apostles until the end of time. So the apostles are given, with God-given power, the responsibility to continue this mission of Christ till the end of time. And this is what the church is. They're really just continuing this apostolic mission that was given from Christ until the end of time. And so to do so, they appoint clergy, they appoint bishops, they appoint priests, they appoint deacons. Not only are they apostolic offices, really fundamentally speaking, the origin of these offices is based on the Trinity itself. And this logic, as St. Jerome explains, is the cornerstone of apostolic succession in the early church. And that will pretty much be it for this video. So thank you for watching. If you liked it, make sure to click like, subscribe if you haven't. And thank you to all of my Patreon financiers: Quinn, Michael, Sean, Tim, Brian with a Y, Brian with an I, Marco, Diet Sold Light, Allison, Eddie, Fad, Justin, Node, Maximus, Mitch, Steven, Vlad, Kerry, Ignatius, Mike, Jack, Nectaris, Flood Basement, Dave, Seraphim, and Norbert. Thank you all for your support. Thank you all for watching this video. And again, make sure to share it to your friends if they have a question regarding this. And I will see all of you in the next video. Thank you for watching. May God be with you all. Goodbye.